This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Radar, and I'm thrilled to be speaking with Rebecca Wisocky about her performance as Hetty on the show Ghosts. How are you, Rebecca?
I'm good. I'm thrilled to be speaking with you, Abe.
Yes, I wasn't sure what you were going to be wearing because I always pictured that you're going to be in this, 17th century outfit.
Oh, I know. I am rather buttoned up though, right? Everyone has to keep telling me, like, try to look less like Hetty. But honestly, I really appreciate that particular fashion sense. So yeah, need to
What
change.
is it like having to wear the same thing every single episode? Does that get tiresome?
No, I love it. It's great to never have to have a costume fitting ever again. It's fantastic. And the costumes are so good. Heather Payne did the original design for all the costumes, and they're period accurate, and they add so much to each one of our performances. And yeah, mine in particular, it really literally it affects how I speak and how much breath I can take in at any given time, and how I have to move and my posture. So I love it. I love costumes like that.
That's great. Aside from her fashion sense, what do you relate to about Hetty?
Oh, well, I just find women like that, characters like that, to be just so heartbreaking and ridiculous. The way they're they believe they're so empowered and so ignorant at the same time, that type of hypocrisy, that kind of taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, being almost childlike in their ignorance, but feelings, I like to describe Hetty as a woman of power who's doomed to be uncomfortable nonetheless at all times, or she's a woman of privilege but with no power. So there's lots of different contradictions, and it's been great fun for me to play. But I didn't really answer the question, did I? Am I like that at all? Probably.
Did you have to do any work in terms of the dialect or the way that she spoke for the time period?
I didn't actually. I did a lot of research about little, the little idiosyncrasies of behavior and things, and but the voice of the character seemed to be so on the page for me. I tend to approach roles in a very musical, rhythmic sense, and it just seemed like that's the way she was supposed to talk. It just made complete sense to me, and they've been very consistent with that. There's this lovely way in which she can kind of change her mind in the middle of a sentence, and I love being able to see that thought process and that whimsy. So yeah, that in terms of dialect, that felt very much like it's just in the writing for me.
I like what you said too about her, slowly evolving, and I think that definitely happens with Isaac, especially. I'm sure working with Brandon is a delight. What do you think about their relationship?
I love it. I've loved that the writers have enjoyed, putting those two together as, unlikely bedfellows, as it were. That was one of the most fun scenes I've ever gotten to shoot in my life, was that seduction scene with Brandon in bed, which was just so ridiculous. But I love the relationship. I love that these two people are, they're similarly pompous and ignorant, but they also believe that they have the highest status in the house, which they really don't. But that they would find this kind of simpatico together has been a lot of fun to play. And I think it's led to some really touching moments and moments and scenes, such as, his coming out story, and Hetty's possibly unlikely, response to that. We've gotten such great feedback. I think it's really resonated with audiences, and engendered conversations in families that have sat down to watch a silly, raucous comedy, and to have conversation starters, snuck in there is always great, especially when it's done the way that our writers are doing it. So.
Yeah, because I think on its face, it's possible that this show, someone could look at it and say, well, this is remarkably offensive. We have all these stereotypical characters, doing these things, but then they watch it and they say, this is actually a really nice way to talk about people who didn't get to accomplish what they wanted to in some ways in their lives, and
Yes.
get to evolve after death.
And know that they didn't fully live in life, and only in death can they possibly find a way to change. And having slowly now an inkling that being capable and willing to make those changes is the only way they're going to get the hell out of here, and hopefully be sucked off and not go down. So yeah, I also think one of the things that I love most about it is, and they don't hit this too hard on the head, but it's very clear to me that only in being together with these other characters and people from different time periods and walks of life and points of view that these individuals would have never been next to or in conversation with in their living life. Only in relation to those different perspectives are we capable of change. And I think that that's really smart. And it's been something that I've enjoyed watching unfold.
And the friendship, I think, between Hetty and Thor is the best example of that, where those are two people who just, you know.
I know. There's so many great places that they can go because they literally have thousands of years of material to play with on the show. I mean, I want to see Thor and Sasapi's, sitting on a rock together before there was a house, before there was anything, and just talking for years and years and years and years and years. There's so many great, with my character in particular, because with my horrible evil husband, played so brilliantly by Matt Walsh, built the house, and that when we built it on land that was for a time my family's, the ghost that died before me saw me not only die but saw me live, and saw all the mistakes I made, and saw that horrible marriage, and saw me get sucked into a life of morphine and and robber barondom. So yeah, lots of things, exciting possibilities.
Yeah, I was almost disappointed by how quickly Matt left, even though it was quite an exit. But I mean, he was so immediately despicable.
Well, but also, I mean, Matt Walsh is never not funny, right? So, I mean, he dealt with that with such a light touch, which was really smart. I thought that the most resounding horrible quality that he brought to it was just his steadfast remoteness. He didn't even deign to engage Hetty, and that I think would have been the thing that would have been the most hurtful to her in her life. So yeah, we loved having him around. So hopefully, I don't know, maybe the gates of hell can open up. No spoilers here. Not that I even know what the heck they're going to do with the second season, but yeah, I hope we see him again. Hetty sure doesn't, but I hope we do.
I'm sure it was also fun to do that episode where Hetty sort of merges a little bit with Jay.
Oh, that's a polite way of saying it. Merges a little bit with Jay. Yeah, no, I was a succubus. I got in there and I got those Cheetos and I tried to drive all the way to Paris. That was really fun. I mean, I was barely actually in that episode.
Right.
You don't really notice that because he did such a great job channeling the essence of Hetty. And I was so glad that he got a chance to do that, because he has such a hard job in our show to have to be so engaged and act like he's not hearing us, yet still be part of the rhythm of all these scenes. And he does that so well, but that episode really gave him a chance to go crazy, and he deserved it. And it was wonderful. And it was wonderful for me to watch. So I thought he did a great job, and people really loved that episode too. So
yeah, I spoke to Danielle too, and I was like, do you just do all the scenes without him and then just do them exactly the same way with him in there?
Yeah, and with Rose too, Rose McIver, who also has a tremendously difficult job in the air. So all the plates she has to keep up and spinning. We do, all those group scenes, all the scenes we do with her in them, and then she has to go in and hit 8 different eye lines exactly the way they were, in the master, and she does it so well. She's such a pro. I mean, I'll sing her praises all day long. She's so funny. She's such a gifted physical comedian, and what's best is that she doesn't think she's funny, but she's very funny, and she's just such a wonderful leader of this gaggle of ridiculous ghost children. I'm sure if you've talked to some of the rest of us, you know what a big happy family we are, and her presence and her experience and kindness and humor, she's a great star of a show. Couldn't ask for anything better. She's fantastic.
And I always picture her eating brains because I'm used to watching her on iZombie before all this, another undead show that's quite a bit different in tone, but still very.
I know, she's a genre queen. Yeah, no dead brains. At least not in season 1. There weren't any dead brains. I don't know. I mean, that would be a fun wink, right? I don't know. You should pitch it.
Well, you said you don't know anything about season 2, but is there anything you hope for Hetty in season 2?
Well, I mean, we're always texting each other kind of, fantasy pitches and stuff. I would love for the girls to have more storylines together. We're pitching, book clubs and all kinds of things. And we have the walking club already, but I love the relationship between these women through these different periods of history. It feels very important and resonant to me. And that's one of the earliest moments that you realize that, oh, Hetty's capable of change, is that scene that she had with Alberta, Danielle Pinnock's character, in which Alberta managed to convince her that women actually should vote and should have a voice. And Hetty only understood that because she has love for Alberta and for Alberta's past and history. And that's kind of what I was referring to earlier. It's only through these personal relationships that change is accessible to these people.
I know you were also part of another show that's in the awards conversation this year, and that's Dopesick. I'm sure that was a very different experience from this one, right?
It was. I had a small role in that, but I was so happy to be asked to do it. I had read Beth Macy's book, and I was familiar, with the material, and was a big fan of Danny Strong's. And they deserve all the awards. All of the actors, the major actors in that show, are just so wonderful, and it was written so beautifully, and the environment on that set was really great. And it was when you're telling a story that's very important, that's significant, that is capable of affecting change in the world. And I think that show certainly is deserving of all of the praise. So yeah. And interesting coincidence that we have Hetty grew, lived and certainly participated in the opioid crisis of her day as well. So, yeah.
And I know that you
basically the same show.
right. I know you also have a role in the film Blonde. Is there anything you can say about that?
Oh, I don't know what I'm allowed to say about that, other than I'm excited to see it. And I was really excited to work with Andrew Dominic, and also similarly another book, the Joyce Carol Oates novel Blonde, on which the movie is based, I thought was really wonderful. And Ana de Armas is channeling Marilyn Monroe, and she was great. I had fun. I think it's going to be a piece of art, that film. So no idea what it's going to look like. I'm proud to be, a small player in that as well. So yes.
Well, that sounds great. It's really nice to be able to speak with you. I'm really looking forward to Ghost Season 2, and I hope plenty of people discover the show who don't know about it before then.
From your lips, Abe. Wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Take care.
Bye.